Welcome back, y'all. We are back with the Daily Vedantic and today's reflection. That's a little y'all shout out to Texan brothers and sisters. I don't know how many Texans study this philosophy, but I do know that my teacher Joseph and I, we are proud Texans. And, well, that and Vedanta we got in common. So today's reflection, though, is actually on the value, the virtue, the sacred nature on questioning. I wish there was a tie to y'all. While I'm talking, I'm trying to think if there is one. There isn't a tie to how I started this episode. Just a clean break. So can we move on from how I started it back to the topic? Thank you. The topic is on the sacred nature of questions within the philosophy of Vedanta. I didn't grow up in a household where questions were sacred on nearly any level. Could be questions on different rules, questions on how the world worked. And I don't fault my parents at all. I'm one of five, the youngest of five. Maybe they were all questioned out. When it came to spiritual study and growing up in a Catholic church, let's put it this way, they weren't sacred there either. So when I heard that questions are sacred within Vedanta, I remember thinking, sacred? How could they be sacred? The concepts have to be sacred, right? The virtues, the knowledge is sacred. Questions are just an avenue towards that knowledge. But in 8 years of studying this philosophy, every single day, 11 years of study of Eastern philosophy, 15 years of philosophical inquiry and study overall, I'm continually impressed, blown away by how revered questions are within this philosophy. And that is because Swami's words come to mind, where he'll say, at the ashram, he'll say quite often that questions are sacred because you have to make the objective subjective. What good is a truth if some external objective truth has not been fully digested, internalized, and made subjective, where you yourself see it? It doesn't just exist outside of you or unbeknownst to you, but you have to make the objective subjective. And the only way to make the objective subjective to where it's what you yourself see is through questioning like crazy and not letting anything in just because a number of people say it or think it, or a certain quality of person says it or thinks it that you respect. We're told that nothing should pass through our ears and into our framework of approaching life without it passing through our own reason and rationale. And if something is the truth, then it should be able to withstand an eternity of questions. If something is the truth, then not only should it withstand it, but your appreciation for it should grow with each question that you have and each answer from a qualified master given back to you. When you pose that question and there is some hand waving, or it's just a mystery, or we can't really know, or it's quit asking questions. And when those are our responses, then questions are not only not sacred, but questions, then they just start to disappear. There's no incentive to have questions when you don't get any answers, or the answers make no rational sense. There isn't a word in this book. For listeners that aren't on YouTube, I'm holding up Vedanta Treatise. There isn't a word in that book that isn't reasonable, meaning that you can't reason your way through it. It's not woo-woo. It's not take this all with a massive leap of faith. It feels like what it is, written by someone that really knows what they're talking about and happens to be trained as a lawyer. And the rest of this subject, when it's taken up sincerely, it flourishes and it unfolds with a new dimension when we bring our questioning mind to it. Kick the tires, where you don't take anything as just gospel just because it's said into a microphone or written down onto a page. And that's one of the most unique things about this philosophy, is that it doesn't just allow for questions, but questions are sacred. As I've said multiple times on these episodes, the 3 daily practices of Vedanta are question everything, don't take anything for granted, and study and reflect daily. And on that first one, question everything. It's a reason that it is the first daily practice, to question everything, especially anything that's coming out of this microphone, or anyone that has taken a pen to paper to write about this subject. It's not just question anything in your world, but question everything in this one. Because what good is the objective if it doesn't become subjective? And that is today's reflection on the Daily Vedantic. We'll see you next time.